In the words of Khalil Gibran, poetry is a deal of joy, pain, and wonder with a dash of the dictionary. And recitation is a celebration of voice, emotion, and expression through the power of poetry. A very good morning to our respected principal, Brother Sebastian George, Reverend Brother Lawrence, Reverend Brother Nicholas, esteemed judges, coordinators, teachers, and my dear fellow mates. I take this opportunity to welcome you all to the Middle School Choral Elocution 2025 to witness a lyrical feud as the contestants express their emotions through a mesh of words. Here, each one is laden with a rainbow of emotions. Today is not just about speaking, it's about speaking together. It's about voices rising in harmony, delivering words with rhythm, emotion, and unity.
A feud indeed. Today, we will witness participants breathe life into words, turning poems into experiences. In choral elocution, it's not just what is said, but how it is said, with synchrony, expression, and collective power. Elocution is the art of speaking. But when voices blend together, we move from words to waves. Choral elocution is where unity, clarity, emotion, and teamwork take center stage. It teaches us that a single voice can speak, a group of voices can inspire. We are honored to have with us today a panel of esteemed judges who bring a wealth of experience in language, literature, and performance. Please welcome our first judge of the day, Mrs. Bhavna Shaunak, and our second judge of the day, Mrs. Kamala Naik. Thank you, judges, for sparing your precious time and lending your expertise.
So without further ado, let's begin this exciting journey of voices. To kick off our competition, please welcome Class 6A presenting the poem The Rider at the Gate by John Mansfield. The poem describes a rider who has come to visit Julius Caesar, informing him about the plot of his assassination. On the other hand, Caesar, though in his bed, has premonitions of something ominous and keeps saying, "The house is falling."
The Rider at the Gate by John Mansfield.
So many night was blowing on Rome. The crescents guttered on Caesar's home. The fish boats moored at the bridge were breaking. The rush of the river to yellow foam. The hinges wind to the shutters shaking. When click clock click came a horse who fretting. The stones of the road at Caesar's gate. The spearbirds jarred at the guards awaiting.
Who goes there?
Said the guard at the gate.
What is the news that you write so late?
News most pressing that must be spoken to Caesar alone, and that cannot wait.
The Caesar sleeps. You must show a token that the news suffices, that he be awoken.
What is the news? And whence do you come? For no light cause may sleep be broken.
Out of the dark of the sands I come, from the dark of the depths
Thank you, Class 6A, for a sterling performance. Coming up next is another powerful presentation. Let's welcome Class 6B performing "O Captain, My Captain" by Walt Whitman. It is an elegy lamenting the death of President Abraham Lincoln following the end of the American Civil War. The poem uses the metaphor of a ship returning home after a difficult journey. The captain of the ship, symbolizing the president, have died just as the journey is successfully completed.
O Captain, My Captain by Walt Whitman.
O Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every wreck. The prize we sought was won. The port is near, the bells are here. The people all exulting. By followed ice the steady keep, the vessel grim and daring. But oh, hard, hard, hard. Oh, the bleeding drop of red. Where on the deck my captain lies, falling cold and dead.
O Captain, My Captain, rise up and hear the bells.
Rise up, for you the flag has come, for you the bugle drums.
For you bouquets and ribbon wreaths, for you the shows are crowding, for you they call the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head, it is some dream that on the deck you have fallen cold and dead.
My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse or will.
The ship has anchored, safe and sound. Its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip the bitter ship comes in with object one. Exulto shoals and Greco bells, but I with mournful tread walk the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead.
That was indeed very captivating. Moving on, let's welcome Class 7A to recite the poem "We Are the Voices of Trees" by B.M. Darwin. The poem administers that we should protect the trees because they are the one who gives us oxygen to breathe and food to eat. So, instead of destroying them, we should protect them.
The poem "We Are the Voice of Trees" by B.L. Darwin. We are the voice of trees, so tall, who give you shade and shelter all. We clean the air, we cool the
in honor, we have class 70 performing King Porus, a legend of the old, by Michael Madhusudan Dutt. The poem delves into a legend from ancient India, particularly focusing on the story of King Porus. In the legend, King Porus faces a fierce and bloody battle against the Alexander the Great. Despite a valiant effort, King Porus is eventually overpowered.
Of Old by Michael Madhusudan Dutt.
Loudly the midnight tempest sang. Oh, it was tigers fed liberty, and clouds in thundering essence roared. Unheeded warning from on high, the rain in darksome torrents fell. Restless, waves did onward sweep, like fiery passions headlong.
plus Dreadbone and Bacon's peace.
Like to a lion chain, that though faint, bleeding, stands in pride, with eyes that unsubdued, yet flash the fire, looks that defy. King Horus boldly went, where amidst the gay and flittering crowd sat God like Alexander, while round earth's mightiest monarchs bowed. King Horus was no slave. He stood not, bent not there his knee, but stood as stands and goes in Himalayan majesty.
The mighty king of Macedon, even as a king,
Reply in royal pride, in haughty sons, the conqueror pleased, him forth released. Thus India's crown was lost and won.
But where, oh, where is Porus now? And where the noble hearts that bled for freedom, with heroic glow in patriot bosoms nourished, hearts eager like that dread not death, but shrank before foul thraldom's breath.
And where art thou, fair freedom? Thou once goodness of insane climb, when glory's halo round her robe shone radiant, and she rose sublime, like her own towering Himalaya, to kiss the clouds throned on high. Climb of the sun, how like a dream, how like bright sun's beams on a stream, that melt beneath great twilight's eye, that glory had now fitted by. The crown that once did deck thy brow is stand down, and thou sunk low. Thy pearl, thy diamond, and thy mine of glistening gold no more is thine. Alas, each conquering tyrant's lust has robbed thee of thy very dust. Thou standest like a lofty tree, shorn of fruits, blossoms, leaves and all, of every tale the spot to be, disguised as scorn, even in thy fall.
1, 2, 3.
Augustus Gloop.
By Roald Dahl.
Augustus Gloop, Augustus Gloop, the great, big, greedy nincompoop. How long could allow his feast to watch and guzzle, feed and feast on everything he wanted to? Great Scott, it simply wouldn't do. However long this slum might live, we are positive
cream and spice. We boil him for a minute more until we are absolutely sure that all the cream and all the gold is boiled away for once and all. Then out he comes, and now by grace, a miracle has taken place. This boy, who only just before was loaded by men from shore to shore, this greedy brood, this roughest deer, is loved by people everywhere. For who could hate or bear a grudge against a luscious bit of fudge? Oh, the great, great, greedy nincompoop! Augustus Gloop, Augustus Gloop, Augustus Gloop.
What an incredible performance! Next in order is Class 8B, presenting an extract from The Pied Piper of Hamelin by Robert Browning. The poem portrays the fact that breaking a promise can lead to dire consequences. It teaches that one should not deceive or cheat others.
In the rickety old town of Hamlet, in medieval Germany, rats once became such a menace to drive the town folks almost crazy. Town elders assembled in a meeting with the mayor. A strange-looking man holding a pipe appeared before them. "I'll rid you of the rats," he said, and asked for a huge sum. The mayor at last agreed to give him the gold he asked.
The Pied Piper of Hamlin by Robert Browning.
Into the street the piper stepped, smiling first, a little smile, as if he knew what magic slept in his quiet pipe the while. Then, like a musical adept, to blow the pipe his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled. Like
tripping
and skipping ran merrily after the wonderful music with shouting and laughter.
Thank you so much for being patient with us. Finally, the moment has arrived to declare the winners of this competition. I request Brother Sebastian to present the awards and address the gathering.
Teachers and students, the results of the education competition this afternoon. In the third place, class 6B, 7B and 8B, there's a tie. In this third place, 6B, 7B and 8B. Please give them a clap. Again, there is a tie for the second place, class 7A and 8A. And the winners for this afternoon are class 6A. For the work that is put in by the teachers and the judges this afternoon, please give them a round of applause. Thank you very much, teachers and the judges. Thank you very much.